I'm not a big rereader, but if I did, these would be it. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is April if you're new here, and today I wanted to talk about some of my favorite series that I read quite some time ago that I'm getting the itch to revisit. These series kind of got me into fantasy and fantasy romance, sci-fi, those kind of things, and are reasons why I love the books that I love now. And I'm just kind of getting the itch to reread some of these, even though I'm not a big rereader. Like, I definitely love discovering new stories and new authors and that kind of thing. But sometimes I just want to revisit my OG favorites and see if they're still some of my favorites. So let's get right into the books that I would absolutely reread. So the first set of books that have been kind of inspiring this video that I really want to reread, probably the most of all of these, is a series and then a spin-off duology. The Remnant Chronicles, which has 3 books in it, and then the Dance of Thieves duology, which is honestly the one I want to read the most. The Remnant Chronicles starts out with this book, which is The Kiss of Deception. It is kind of a love triangle and is kind of one of your standard fantasy romances, but it's also so much more when you get into the later books. You are following Leah, who is betrothed to a prince, and she really doesn't want to marry that person, so she runs off with her friend to another small town to try and hide out and hide away from it. Little does she know, not only is she being hunted by the prince, but she's also being hunted by an assassin. And you definitely meet all the characters. You meet both men in this, but the beauty of this is that you really don't know who she chooses until the very end of this book. You don't even know which guy is which. Like, which character is she talking to? Which one is the assassin? Which one is the prince? And it really kind of hooked me with that little bit of a mystery. Now, while this is going on and she's falling in love with one of these guys, there is other secrets about her kingdom that she is slowly unraveling, and that's kind of where the story goes from there. This was just a really fun YA series that really sparked that love of romance and fantasy. Like, I started out as a fantasy reader, and I was definitely the person that was like, I don't want that much romance in my books. Look at me now, okay? This book and Daughter of the Pirate King, these books definitely sparked my love of romance and fantasies, and now I just cannot get enough of it. So this is kind of the OG. I really want to do this one. The reason why I want to read this one the most is that this one is following a thief. She is called Cassie. She has a nickname because she's a very good thief, and she steals the wrong thing. And again, a prince from another kingdom has to capture her and take her back to his kingdom. So this is a bit of a road trip romance too. And she doesn't know that he's a prince or king or whatever until she gets to his kingdom. And I just love adventure romances and road trip romances, and I think this one as well sparked my love for those. So this is the one I really want to reread, but I kind of just really want to start with the Remnant Chronicles and go back through them all, because Mary E. Pearson is just a deliciously amazing author. She has a new book coming out soon, which I'm so excited about. So yeah, this series I definitely would want to get back to the most. Another adventure fantasy romance YA series that got me into enemies to lovers but also forced proximity romances is Ruined by Amy Tintera. This is quite the adventure. You have Emelina, who her town is ravaged, her family is slaughtered, and her sister is taken captive, and she is hell-bent on revenge and finding her sister. And in order to do that, she needs to travel to a nearby kingdom to find her sister and also infiltrate the royal family by marrying the Prince Casimir. So she is getting to know Prince Casimir, but there is so much adventure in this. At some point, she is thrust in the river, I think with the prince, and they are handcuffed together. and they cannot be separated. They are way down the river, and then they have to kind of travel backwards, and it is just, I don't know if that happens in this book, or if it happens in this book, or if it happens in this book. I don't remember, and that's why I want to reread this, because again, Amy Tintera, she just kind of writes adventure in the way that I just freaking love it. So this is, I think, a highly underrated YA series in my opinion. I don't ever see anybody talking about this, but it is quite old. I don't remember when it was published. This was published in 2016, so quite a while ago. So I don't know, I just feel like it's time to have its resurgence, and I just want to read it again. Like, these again are very short YA books that they go by quickly, so I feel like I could get through them quickly. And the last YA series I would completely revisit because it's been so long since I read it, but I remember actually just really loving it. And honestly blossoming my love for sci-fi romance is Amid Stars and Darkness by Chani Lynn Feiner. Again, this is YA, they are very short, but in this one is kind of like a mistaken identity trope in this one. And she's whisked away to this sci-fi royalty kind of thing. So this book starts out in a club. You meet Delaney and she's having a good time, and she brushes up against another girl, and the other girl, I don't know, bumps into her, does something to her, I can't remember, and then gets out of there, right? After the club, she's being chased by someone, and this someone feels like he knows her, but she doesn't know him. Little does she know that someone is a bodyguard to the princess of another planet. Somehow, through technology, that princess has projected her likeness onto Delaney. And Delaney can't fix it. So the bodyguard takes Delaney back in his spaceship, and they go off, and she's like, I don't know who you are. And there's a lot of political intrigue going on. And so what ends up happening is Delaney has to pretend to be this princess. Her name is Lissa, and she has to fool all of the royal family in order to earn her way back to Earth. And through this, of course, the love interest is the bodyguard, but also eventually one of the love interests is also the prince. So I don't know, this was just really cute. Like, it was a cute sci-fi, and it was like sci-fi without being super sci-fi. These people aren't aliens, they definitely look human. They infiltrate Earth a lot, they come back, and I don't know, again, it was just a bit of an adventure with royalty, with politics that are just light and sweet, so nothing overly complicated. But I remember enjoying this like it was just popcorn for me, and I just kind of want to reread it. It was just kind of good. I know Chani Lynn Feiner now does a lot of sci-fi, but she also does a lot of male romances. So I just kind of want to revisit this and then read some of her newest stuff to see how much she has grown as an author. Because this, again, was written a while ago. 2017. This was written in 2017. And then, of course, it's a trilogy. So there's also Within, Ash and Stardust, and also Between Frost and Fury. And I don't know, again, I also just really love these covers too. So I think they're perfectly YA and perfectly cute. Getting into some more adult books. I have one more I have two more romances and two more that are not really romances. But I really want to reread Molly Harper's How to Flirt with a Naked Werewolf. These are just adorable. I also have a second book, The Art of Seducing a Naked Werewolf. I know there's a third book as well. I don't have that one, and I don't even know if I ever read it, to be honest. I might have, because this series is so cute. So clearly this is a paranormal series. You follow Mo, who is a recent transplant to a small town in Alaska, and she's kind of learning the ropes, but she's definitely like a city slicker type person. Anyway, she has this small cabin, and she does things like throw her food scraps out the window for the little squirrels and stuff outside. However, there is a werewolf watching her and trying to protect her because she is also bringing in predators. And he's like, what the hell is this girl doing? Why does she keep doing this? I keep having to chase off all the wolves in the areas and the bears. And this is so funny, so cute. Molly Harper is a romantic comedy writer, and I just really enjoyed this whole series. Of course, there's a fated mates aspect of this, and then also shifters, that kind of thing. There's this whole werewolf pack that you just kind of end up loving, and it all starts with this book. And these are just, they're so cute, and I think it just really sparked my love for paranormal. I'm not a huge paranormal fan because a lot of the times they're set in this world and I read for escapism. I don't want anything to do with this world when I read. But this one, it's so far removed in this small town, Alaska, that I really, really enjoyed it. I could just really get immersed in this small town, like paranormal feel of this werewolf group and all the townspeople and stuff like that. Like, it was just really cute. The next series is another paranormal series with vampires, and it is Tessa Bailey's vampire series called Reborn Yesterday, and then there is Today, Tomorrow, and Always, and then also This Time Tomorrow. I'm not a huge Tessa Bailey fan, to be honest, but I really loved this vampire series from her. So in this book, she works in a morgue, and in comes a body, and she's about to, you know, do her job, and he wakes up, like the body is just like, "Ooh," and he's like, oh, silly friends, you know, they're doing this to me again. And she's like, okay, well, my job is done, I'm gonna walk home. And he's like, you cannot walk home by yourself in the middle of the night, like that's not okay. And she's like, okay, will you escort me home? And he's like, grumble, grumble. Ugh, okay, no more than 10 minutes, 10 minutes max, 10 minutes max. He's saying that to himself because he is highly attracted to her, because what do you know, she's his mate. He is actually part of a set of vampires that helps other vampires acclimate to their new lives, because some people are turned into vampires and they're just kind of left to their own devices, and those are the dangerous ones. They really have to be watched over and cared for so that way they can be kind of like nice vampires. And he runs that whole enterprise of helping those people. I really loved this first book. There's just a lot of drama and that kind of thing. In subsequent books, there's like a vampire hunter and a vampire, and then I don't remember what the third one was about, but he was kind of like the comedic relief vampire of this whole group. And I really loved all three of these books. I just thought they were like fun. Like, this was just a fun series to watch and travel. Like, I really loved these characters as well. And I don't know, it's kind of like one of those contemporaries that I actually liked because it wasn't just a contemporary. Like, it definitely had this whole other world of vampire politics and, you know, who they're enemies with and that kind of thing. And it was also pretty hot and steamy, so I really liked it, and I think I would definitely want to reread this to see if I still really like these, because I don't know, I just think they're fun. Next one is a duology, and it is not a romance, but it was so freaking cool. This book, which actually it looks like I never even got the real book for it. This is my art copy of it that I got ages ago. This is called Burn the Dark. It's by S.A. Hunt. This is for fans of like Supernatural and Stranger Things. Like, I think you would really, really enjoy this. You follow Robin. She's a YouTuber, and she's well known and well liked for her very realistic witch hunts. Because everyone thinks there's no such thing as witches. So, but you know, of course, she is an actual witch hunter, but nobody believes she actually is. And she is trying to take down this coven that is really just bad news. Bad news. What I really liked about this is that it's gross, and sometimes, like, she's definitely hunting monsters in this, and the witches are truly evil. And Robin is just such this sparky character. Like, she's definitely sarcastic, and She just like take no prisoners kind of attitude, but she also kind of doubts herself sometimes as well. And then there's this one, and then also the conclusion of that first story about this coven of witches. In the second one, I Come With Knives. This is just a cool ass duology. Like there is a third book, but I think the third book was almost a completely different story. So I'd never read that one, but these two were freaking cool and I really liked them. And I love that darker, like gross, gory aspect without being super horror. Like I'm not into being scared, but I definitely like the macabre, gross stuff in books sometimes, and that's why I really love this one. I also thought it was quite an adventure with the whole like planning to take down this coven and all of that kind of stuff. So this one too, I haven't read it in several years, but I really enjoyed it, and I think I just really want to reread it at some point, like soon, because I'm just in that mood with like vampires and all that kind of stuff. Like I'm definitely in a fantasy mood. I really want to read this. And the last series that I 100% would reread if I'm in a rereading mood. This one's pretty dense and it's not a romance, but there are some elements of romance in it, and it is The Collapsing Empire by John Scalzi. There is 3 books. I think the second one is The Consuming Fire, and then it ends with The Last Emperox. So this is a sci-fi series, clearly. It is an epic sci-fi series. There is a lot of politics going on in this. If you're a fan of The Expanse, you may like this. Right off the bat, this is high action. High action. You're on a spaceship with a captain and his crew, and he's going along basically the intergalactic highway. Like all of these planets are connected by this intergalactic highway. You have to go a certain way to follow all these planets. And unfortunately in this world, parts of those highways are collapsing in on itself. So right off the bat, you're with this captain and this crew, and what do you know? The highway that they're on collapses and they're just in the middle of space, God knows where, and God knows how to get back. You also follow other characters, my favorite being Kiva Largo. She's just like a bitch, honestly. She's again this very tenacious, badass attitude captain, and I just freaking love her. She plays a very integral part. You're following also someone who's trying to be the emperor of one, and all these other people that are trying to make money before the entire highway collapses between these planets and they no longer can get back to each other. Of course, all these planets trade with each other. So you're talking about one planet losing water, one planet losing, goods and food and that kind of thing. So this whole thing collapsing will basically turn everybody back into the Stone Age. And then there's this planet that is at the very end of the highway that will be completely closed off to the entire rest of the universe. This was just extensive. It's fun. It's action-packed. There's political intrigue. Like, I freaking love this series. Love this series. I'm in a total sci-fi mood. And again, they're not incredibly long, but I would say they are a little bit more dense with learning how the technology works and that kind of thing. So this is definitely for a sci-fi reader, not a beginner. Like I wouldn't read this as a beginner. I would read this as a person who loves and enjoys sci-fi, which is me. That is totally me. So yeah, this one I just really want to revisit. It's been so long since I read it, and again, I think it's just one of those top-notch series from a top-notch author in the genre that you can't just not read. So maybe one day I'll reread this. I definitely want to. Maybe I'll reread it on audiobook, because I don't think I did that. So there you have it. Those are the series that I own that I would most likely reread once I'm in that mood. Again, I definitely like discovering new stories, but these series, every time I see them on my shelf, I can't get rid of them. And I'm like, okay, I need to reread them to see if I still really like them. Which I'm sure I will. Let me know if there's a series that you just want to reread the most lately. It's kind of been nibbling in your mind for a little bit. You never know, maybe you'll find a buddy in the comments as well who wants to reread it with you. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.